Had a splendid day. On behalf of Gifted Hands Fashion House, I present to you today the making of a basic blouse. We'll be making a basic blouse, and I would like to draft it out here on this sketch paper. We'll draft it out on this pattern paper. To make a basic blouse, these are the measurements we'll be using. These are the measurements needed for a basic blouse. You need your shoulder measurement, your bust measurement, bust point, chest line, half length, waist measurement, waistline to hip line, hip measurement, nipple to nipple. All these measurements, in fact, the secret in getting an accurate calculation while sewing is this. When you're taking measurement for circular body parts, divide them by 4. Any circular body part, something like the round of your bust, the round of your waist, the round of your hip, every part of your body that you measure round, divide it by 4. But the parts that you don't measure round, the ones that don't go round, you can either divide by 2 or you add seam allowance to it. It depends. As we move along, you see how we do the calculation. Now, the first we have here is shoulder measurement. Our shoulder is 14. We are dividing 14 by 2. We are dividing 14 by 2 because it is not circular. We didn't go round. We took just the shoulder. So 14 divided by 2 is 7 plus half inch seam allowance, 7.5. Then our bust measurement is 30. You can see we are dividing bust by 4 because it is the circumference. It goes round. It goes round our bust area. So we have to divide it by 4 to get 7.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance, 9.5. The next one is our bust point. This time around, the bust point is just from your shoulder to your bust. You take the measurement from your shoulder to your bust. Now this measurement doesn't need to be divided by 4 and it doesn't need to be divided by 2. You simply take your bust point the way it is. Then the chest line. The chest line is also like your round armhole. Actually, the chest line for this person is 14 because you take it round the armhole from one armhole to the other. So the chest line is 14 divided by 2, you get 7. And the next one is our half length, which is 15. You don't need to divide that one. And then the waist, 28. That is the round of the waist, is 28. Divided by 4 is 7 plus 2, 9. And then we have waistline to hip line. As the name implies, you start it from your waistline to your hip line. Then the last one we have hip, which is round. So you divide your hip. The hip is 32 divided by 4 is 8 plus 2 inches seam allowance, 10. And then we have nipple to nipple. That is from one nipple to the other nipple. This nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 3 plus half, 3.5. So with this little explanation, we'll move on to our pattern paper, where we start taking our measurements. Now, one of the rules in taking a basic blouse, in making a basic blouse, the rule there is wherever your blouse length stops, take the biggest part of your body measurement. For instance, if I want to cut a blouse that will stop at my half length, therefore, from my half length to my upper bodies, the biggest part is what I will use to fold my fabric. Then if I want to cut a blouse that will be long enough to come down to my hip area, maybe something like Igbo blouse, or maybe just a normal basic blouse, just a normal blouse, and then the length of the blouse is up to my hip area, it then means I'll need to fold my paper with the biggest part of my body, which happens to be my hip area this time around. So if you are cutting a half length blouse, you take the biggest part of your body as your bust. You fold your paper with your bust measurement. And if you are cutting a full length blouse, that is a basic blouse that is long enough, then once it extends to your hip area, it then means the biggest part of your body becomes your hip. That means you fold your paper with your hip measurement. Now, in this case, we are making a basic blouse, and the blouse will get down to our hip area, which means I'll be folding this fabric with my hip measurement, and my hip measurement here is 32. My hip measurement is 32, which means 32 divided by 4, I have 8 plus 2 is 10. I'll be folding my fabric. See, this fabric is on fold. This paper is on fold. So I'll fold this paper, I'll fold my pattern paper by 10 inches. Here is my 10 here. I have 10 here. So this is how to fold your fabric while taking measurement. I folded it by 10. The next thing I need to do is to mark out like half or 1 inch seam allowance. Always make this possible in all your works. Mark out this part. Call it your starting point. Call it your starting point. And it's very necessary you mark it out. So whatever measurement you are taking, you start it from this line you marked out. From here, from this line, I'll take my half length measurement. My half length is, I'll take my full length measurement. My full length, I'll take my full length. From this line I marked here, I'll take my full length measurement. My full length is 21 plus 2 inches seam allowance, 23. I'll mark out my 23 here. This is 23. Mark it out. You can use your ruler to sketch it out very well. So with this now, I can simply cut this out so that I'll be able to work with just this pattern here. This is what I have now. From here now, I'll take my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 14 divided by 2, 7 plus half, 7.5. This is my 7.5 here. From this point, I'll take my chest line measurement. My chest line is also 7. This is my chest line here. I'll mark it out. 7 all the way. Also connect it. From my chest line, I'll take my bust point measurement. My bust point is 8. This is my bust point here. I'll mark it. I'll connect it with my ruler. My bust point. From the bust point, the next measurement I need to take is my half length measurement. My half length is 15. Here's my 15 here. I'll connect it all through. Connect it all the way. And then I'll roll it out. This is my half length. Next, I'll take my waistline to hip line. This half length here, in other words, is also my waistline. This is my half length and also my waistline. This is my chest line and also my where I'll take my bust measurement. It's also my chest line as well as my bust measurement area. When we get to that point, you understand it better. Now, this is my half length and also my waistline. So on this half length, I'll take my waistline to hip line, which is 6. This is my 6 here. I'll mark it all the way. Let me level this. Here is my starting point. Here is my chest line. I told you I'll also take my bust measurement from my chest line. And then this is my bust point. This is my half length. It is either my half length or my waistline. Let me call this one waistline. And then this one here is my hip line. My hip line. And then my seam allowance. Okay, it's my hip line and then my waistline. After I've taken this measurement here, the next thing I'll do now is to take my nipple to nipple measurement. My nipple to nipple is 6 divided by 2, 3 plus half inch seam allowance, 3.5. I'm not starting up here because from my nipple to nipple, I'll make my dart. And all front darts, because this is the front part, we are actually drafting a front basic blouse. So all that in the front blouse start 1 inch below the bust point. This is my bust point. So my dart will start 1 inch below this bust point. So in other words, I can start my nipple to nipple line from here. 4, 4, 4, 4, all the way. Then I'll rule out my nipple to nipple line here. I'll rule out the nipple to nipple line. This is my nipple to nipple line. Now I need to construct my shoulder. I've already taken my shoulder measurement, which is, we had 7 plus 0.5, that's 7.5. This is my 7.5 here. Now from this end, I'll also measure out the same 7.5. If you don't want to measure it, it's still okay. You can just connect straight, but I measure it so that I'll get a straight line. So this is my 7.5 for my shoulder. And I already have, my chest line has already been connected. Therefore, the shoulder is already visible like this. So this is my shoulder line, my armhole line. Now on this armhole line, this is the armhole, then this is my shoulder here. On this armhole line, it is the front blouse. So I need to do a little it should be different. The front armhole should be different from the back armhole. So there's a slight difference. First of all, I'll mark ½ inch for my shoulder slat, and I'm left with 6.5. Half of 6.5 is 3.25. I'll mark it. This is my 3.25. And then I'll come here. I'll place it like this. I'll mark 0.5 or 0.75 as the case may be, and then I'll connect it. Let me use my free hand to connect. I'll connect it like this. For you to know how to take it up here, always use between 1 to 1.5 inches. Then you connect down like this. So this is my armhole curve. I've curved it. Then the next place, I like to take my neck measurement. I'll be working with a neck of say 3 inches. Work with a neck of 3 inches, and then I work with a neck depth of 5 inches, depending how you want your neck to look like. If you want it shorter than this, it's your choice. If you want it long, it's your choice. But I want mine 5 inches, so I'll mark it, and then I'll equally curve my neck area. Now this ½ inch I marked here, I'll be using it for my slant. So I'll connect it like this. Okay, so I'm done with everything on this upper part. The next thing I need to do now is to take my dart measurement. I'll take my dart measurement. So to take my dart, on the half length, I need to mark ½ inch on both sides. I'll place it here. I'll mark half, and here I'll mark half. At this hip area, I'll come up by 2 to 3 inches seam allowance. I'll come up, see how I place my tape, and then I'll come up with 2 or 3 inches seam allowance. And then the bust point, this area, I told you before that bust point starts 1 inch, front dart starts 1 inch below your bust point. So this is 1 inch below the bust point. I'll mark it like this. So having done this, I'll connect my darts like this. I'll connect this like this way. Take this other one like this. I'll take this one here like this. Then I'll take this one like this. So I've connected my dart now. I've connected my dart. You come down here by 1 inch. You come here, go up here by 2 or 3 inches seam allowance. You mark ½ inch on both sides, and then you connect it just the way I've done here. Another thing I need to do, I'll take my measurements on the side here. First measurement I need to take is on the chest line. This is my chest line here. This line here is my chest line. So on this chest line, I'm gonna take my bust measurement. My bust is 30 divided by 4, 7.5 plus 2, 9.5. I'll mark my 9.5 here. This is 9.5. Mark it. Always place your tape from the close edge. From the close edge, I'll mark 9.5. The next measurement I will have to take here is my half length measurement. That is the waist measurement. I'll take my waist measurement. My waist is 28 divided by 4, 7 plus 2, 9. I'll mark 9 here. Now this is I'm drafting this work here, but if actually I'm doing it on the fabric, I'll need to add my seam allowance. Now this is how you add your seam allowance. When you get this 9, the darts I have here, is is 1 inch. I have 1 inch that's here. Now this 1 inch that I removed here, I'll add it to this line, making it 10, and then I'll add 2 inches seam allowance. So sorry, I've added 2 inches already. Okay, my waist is 28 divided by 4, 7 plus 2, 9. So I've added 2 inches already. Now what I need to add here is this that I removed here, which is 10. So I'll just add 1 inch, this 1 inch that, making it 10. And then on my hip line, I'll take my hip measurement. I'll take my hip measurement here. Now to take my hip is 32 divided by 4, 8 plus 2, 10. In this case, I don't have any dots to add here, so I'll simply mark my 10 here. After I've done this, I'll connect all these lines. Connect it just the way it is. So remember, you need to have your shoulder allowance. You need it to join your shoulder. If not, by the time you cut it off without adding your shoulder allowance, you are going to make this measurement, you are going to reduce it. You may end up getting an undersize for your measurement. So you may decide to add half-inch shoulder allowance. You add it and connect. So this is my shoulder allowance here. I'll connect it like this for my shoulder. So I'll be cutting from here so that by the time I'll be joining my shoulder, I'll have enough allowance to do so. Another thing you need to do for a basic blouse, at this point, you need to shape it. The shaping can use between 2 inches to 1.5 or even 1 inch. Place it like this, and then the shaping is done like this. So with this, I can now cut out my front blouse. And then I'll notch that area. See how we do it. You notch it. As I notch, by the time I will be joining, I'll be sewing my dart. I'll simply make use of this notch area, and then I'll hold it like this and sew it up. That is how to cut a front. So this is how to cut a front basic blouse. Thank you. Quite simple. You can simply trace what you have at the front blouse to get your back, to get the back blouse. Now let's start tracing it. That is, if you don't want to start taking measurements afresh, you trace it out like this. Trace out. This is my dart. Remember your zip allowance. I marked out, you can mark out between 1.5 to 2 inches for your zip allowance. You mark it out here. I've marked out my own. So I told you the front armhole and back armhole are not always the same. So what I really need to do here is just to mark the two start areas. That is my chest line and this area. I'll mark it so that I'll construct a different armhole. Then I'll mark my shoulder here. This is my shoulder. I'll mark it. Then I'll also mark my neck measurement. The neck here, front neck and back neck, must not really be the same. Depends on what you want. If you want it the same, fine. If you don't want it same, you can take between 2 inches to 3 inches or 1 or even more. It's your choice. So whatever you want for your neck, whatever you're using for your neck, you mark it out. So I've marked out my neck here, and then I've sketched out all these areas as well as my dart area. I've sketched out all the areas. So I'll remove this. You can see this is it. This is my half length here. This half length, I'll mark it as well. See it here. You can measure. If you want, you can measure all this, but if you want to do it very fast, you can simply just take this, do it this way. Then I'll reconstruct this armhole. See how the back armhole should be. Just, you don't need to bring it in here. If you do that, you spoil the armhole. So the only thing left for me here is to take my dart. And remember, the front dart starts from your bust area, 1 inch below your bust area. But the back dart starts from your chest line, 1 inch below your chest line. See my chest line here. See it? This is my chest line. So back dart, I'll start 1 inch below my chest area. My nipple to nipple is 4. So 1 inch below my chest area is here. Then, which means I'll take 4 inches all the way. 4 inches, 4, all through 4. Then I'll connect it here like this. I'm actually trying to make my back dart. So after I've done this, what I'll do next is to mark the dart on my half length here. I'll take ½ inch on both sides. ½ inch on both sides. This is half here, and then this is half. This one starts 1 inch below my chest line, so I'll connect it, and then I'll come up here by 2 to 3 inches. That's depending on the size of whom you are sewing for. So I'll connect this now. From here, connect like this. Connect here. Then I'll connect this one too to this point. From the chest line here, I'll connect. Sorry, from the half length. Connect this one too. So I'll have this. Okay. Then I'll connect my armhole. And that's all. That's all for the back. I'll cut off. This is all. The only thing I'll do here is to notch out my nipple to nipple, so that by the time I want to sew my dart, I'll simply hold it here. The dart will start, I'll start sewing it from here down to this one. Likewise here, I'll start sewing from here down to this point. That's all for how to draft. Okay, the zip area, I need to split it open. But before I do that, most times when you try making a zip, the back of the zip will be bulgy, will be kind of puff at the back of your zip. So to reduce that puff, you need to do this. On the half length, you come in by ½ inch, mark ½ inch on your half length, and then from the top of the zip area, you connect to that ½ inch you marked, like this. You can even from here, from this half length, take it back this way, which means this becomes my new zip area. And then this place I marked ½ inch, I'll equally bring it in. I'll equally bring that ½ inch I marked here. So my new zip is going to be like this. This is my new zip area. You see it? So in doing this, the bulge that is going to come out of this part, I've cut it off. So when I use this method to sew my zip, nothing will make the back of this zip to be bulgy. So with this now, I have my back basic blouse and my front basic blouse with the zip all attached. Thank you once again for following us to the end. I really appreciate so much. To all our old subscribers, I can't thank you enough. May God really richly bless you. And to the to our new viewers, please, if you've not subscribed, click on the subscribe button below, and also like our page, share our page as well. And then, if you're interested in joining us in our school, we run a tailoring school, a fashion school in Anambra State, Nnewi. In case you have interest to learn more and know more of this, please join us, or you can call the phone number on your screen. Thank you.